This is Wealth Frequency, and this is another episode of Coffee Break AI. And so let's get into it. Every time you log into caffeine.ai, which is the platform we're using that launches your website, app, software, games, anything you can create with a prompt or by voice, just talking to the AI, it will create the application or website within minutes, and it deploys onto the internet as a verifiable blockchain, persistent blockchain. Blockchain is just basically verifiable computation. It's a way for people, the public, to see your code and prove that you're working and launching software or websites honestly and fairly. And so in doing that, when you launch an app or a website, it goes inside of this canister. It's an encrypted canister. I like to say as a metaphoric canister, but think of it more as your own personal cloud. And your cloud, only you can log into it from the login of your app. So I'll give you an example of that. So basically this hilarious Magic 8-Ball 3D interactive web app that I created yesterday, I'm going to manipulate this a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to delete. After you log into caffeine.ai, you're going to have all your products and projects listed on the left-hand side of your browser. And I'm just going to minimize that into a smaller view by clicking the top left corner menu button, which reveals more chat window. And every time you log back in, or after 30 minutes or more, your drafts will expire. They're saved and they're waiting to be rebuilt so that you can work on them and then eventually deploy them, which get deployed in your own private cloud that does not rely on centralized data centers, which means that your login is the only permission or person or anyone that's allowed to log in and see the files, the information, the data. So it's data sovereignty. You own the data, you own the cloud, you own your future. This is the digital identity revolution. And it works like the internet. You would never know otherwise. When you go up to your browser and you get this search link at the top, or URL website where you type it in at the top of any browser, how the internet works is this is an HTTPS. Now this at the beginning of your website or any website you visit is essentially a protocol, while the Internet Computer Protocol runs basically its own protocol, its own version of HTTPS, and it gets deployed as a blockchain, not on big legacy tech cloud servers. So the internet today is owned and operated mostly by the Western world, by Amazon Web Services and Microsoft and Apple, Google, and Facebook. So they own all of your information, they own all of your data, they own your websites, everything that you build, create, you submit into your phone or your computer that lives on any type of cloud or server, centralized data center, does not belong to you. The Internet Computer Protocol that was developed by the Decentralized Foundation out of Switzerland created a protocol that does not rely on these 25, 30-year-old systems, but have deployed their own deconstructed data centers, which means that it's not one central data center that uses all this power and holds all this information. That's a liability and a vulnerability for cybercrime that costs the entire global economy $10 trillion a year. So Decentralized Foundation, which is 150 to 200 engineers all over the world, spent their lifetime developing cryptography and engineering computers, and they've built a system that you can run just like the internet. You would never know the difference. and it's encrypted with chain key technology. Essentially, it's not, you can't hack it. When you log in with your ID, then you can go get one at id.ai. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to type in id.ai. Oh, okay, id.ai. This id.ai does not use passwords. It does not require you to enter any information into your phone or computer, which removes the single point of attack for all phishing scams, cybercrime, for $10 trillion a year. This one-click login that you have to verify when you sign up can now be used password-free and give you full control over your own apps, websites, and your data. Just like the cloud, except for you own it, because the computers that are spread out all over the world to run the world computer are small computers that are decentralized, encrypted, independently owned computer nodes. So instead of a centralized data center, they issue tens of thousands of computer nodes that run their version of the internet, their internet computer protocol. So they're able to secure the internet with chain key technology, which does not allow third party or legacy tech or hackers to get into the system. This is the digital identity revolution, and you can go and get one for free at id.ai. Now, the Definitive Foundation in Switzerland is a non-for-profit, and these engineers got together and they built this system to bulletproof the internet for the future of technology. Now, when the world moves all of their digital assets and the entire capital markets and stock markets and private and public companies and enterprises and governments, military, anything you can name that lives on the internet that you can access from anywhere in the world, will move on to the world computer for its impenetrable cybercrime tamper-proof technology. All right, so that's a bit of a foresight up to what's rolling out as new internet technology in real time. It's happening every day. You can go build on it. You can log into caffeine.ai and you can deploy your very own website. Now, sure, there's hundreds of thousands of different website builders out there, different platforms, software as a service. Of course, you use hundreds of applications, dozens of applications on your phone, on your computer, for work, for personal, for social. And there will be a version of all of those very soon on the internet computer, world computer, if those apps don't move there themselves. So instead of them having to upgrade and maintain their cybersecurity end of their product to protect you and your family and your information, it's in their best interest to run their applications off of the world computer. Anybody can build on it, anybody can integrate it, and this is where the world is moving to. Coming up soon is the World Computer Day in Davos, Switzerland, and all the biggest tech and all the biggest tech hardware manufacturers will be there because they finally understand this new technology, and they understand that the world's internet for AI and for infrastructure like energy, telecommunications, cannot continue to run on these broken systems, that they need a persistent internet that will never go down, that will never be compromised, that can never be hacked. This is it, folks. This is the Amazon internet technology of our generation, arguably the biggest investment opportunity of our lifetime. And if you're not an investor, for the ICP token, which you can find on exchanges, you can use the caffeine.ai platform and you can just go and create a website. And it's a subscription-based platform. So if you go to the top right-hand side, I'm already logged in. You can see the menu here. This is my login. Here are my credits. I can upgrade my basic plan. I can top up my credits if I run out. And there's all kinds of stuff to go over that you can look into here. I can share feedback if there's problems or suggestions. Use a promo code if I get it somewhere. Settings that give me access to my profile and to the app. Now let's see. Okay, so let's start this. Let me give you a quick overview of the app. So here we are. I'm already logged into the caffeine.ai platform. These are all the projects that I'm working on. The bottom left side is a new chat button. That brings up a new chat and a new project, and it'll wait for you to tell you what you want it to build. And the more complicated the idea, the more credits it's going to take and the longer it will take to develop and build. But I've created little fun, entertaining games, for example, that only took 1 or 2 prompts. So let's look, for example. The other day, I came in and my first recording looks like, I don't know why. Oh, yeah, I'm already on it. So, Hilarious Magic 8-Ball 3D Interactive Web App. So, January 12th, I came in. I opened up the chat. It says, the new chat was created successfully. Please tell me what app to create or ask me a question. So, you can ask questions without burning credits, and you can get access to information off the web, just like Google, and it will display it here in the chat. So, for the sake of tutorial example, I asked it to create me a hilarious 3D Magic 8-Ball that users can ask it questions and it will give 100 different replies. Awesome. It said, I'm creating a hilarious 3D Magic 8-Ball with 100 unique funny responses with smooth animations. It'll be magical and ridiculous. So it went ahead and it built a version of this in less than 4 minutes. Let's see here. 50 to 54. Yeah, so it took 4 minutes to build the app. And I'm going to get the draft running here on the right-hand window, right-hand side, restoring draft. This is what happens when you come back each day or after 30 some minutes. The draft will time out, and then you just create the draft, deploy it again, and it'll show you your draft in this right-hand window. Top right-hand side, you have the chat window. You have the specs window. You can select and deselect. You have the code and all the files window. You have the draft, which is here on the right, Hilarious Magic 8-Ball. And you have the live, which shows you what is actually live if you've pushed a draft live. And we'll get to the other buttons a little bit later. So it created this Hilarious Magic 8-Ball all by itself in its own way of designing or creating. And then it published this whole website, this whole entire thing. And I already went over this in my first video. But we're going to delete this because I want to show you how to control and manipulate the project that you're working on. So basically, on the left-hand side, it said, your code base is just a stub right now. Would you like help adding the 100 responses and the 3D animations? In which I said yes. And then it went and added all the funny responses where if I type in a question here, basically yes or no questions work best, but should I delete this app? And then I will move over and click ask. The question was received, now shake the ball. So I go up here, I shake the ball, ask again after coffee. So basically, this was a simple, super simple app. It has 100 different responses, and it was built within 2 prompts in less than, 7 minutes. It took 7 minutes to build this little app game for fun. And that's all it takes. And you can continue to work on it, and you can build it, and you can draft it, and you can go as far as your imagination can go. And so today I came back to this and I want to show you how to manipulate this little entertaining app that we created. So I recreated the draft, and this is it, and it's functional and it works. So what I want to do is, this is the title. So I'm okay with the title. Everything that it's created, it's all autonomously done. All did it by itself. I didn't have to know one piece of code. And that's it. So if I click on the name at the top left side of the project that I'm working on, the 8-Ball, it brings up this window. Now it has a publish button there already. because it's already completed the drafts or any updates that I had done previously, and I haven't asked it to do anything else. So I could publish this app the way it is now, just for fun, but I'm not going to. And I can look at the analytics, and analytics basically, so it's a part of a subscription upgrade, but it will tell me who's visiting my app. So all the analytics, like Google is a separate account for analytics. It tells you where all the traffic is coming from all over the world. That's all available in a specific subscription for caffeine.ai. I'm not going to upgrade that now, but I just want to show you this little menu that came up and how you can control this app. You can copy and share the link to this draft specifically. I have not published it live. When I publish it live, it will give me a more permanent link. But for this sake of draft, it'll only give me copy share link for this specific draft, which will only allow me to send it to people to use for the next 30 minutes, so that if you have a team or someone wants to see it, or you want to show somebody the concept, they can click the link and see the draft. You can also download all of the files. So if you get really good and you understand programming, or you're a coder and you want to see all the files that are attached to this app that was created, you can download all the files. It will go into your download folder. And of course, here below that, you can delete the project. So this is the temporary draft extension URL. So it's made up all these words, and then it's .caffeine.xyz. So caffeine.ai uses caffeine.xyz for their drafts and for their live URLs. So they'll give you a draft URL, and then when you push it live, it'll give you a permanent caffeine.xyz URL. And that's where people would go to visit. That's where you would go to visit. Or you can buy a domain, just like going to GoDaddy or another domain seller. And you can buy a domain for this app. And it's available under the Plus subscription. So these are the subscriptions. Starter is 40 credits. I basically built a fun, entertaining app with 4 credits. That's 2 prompts. So you can actually build out your personal website, create a fun little game, probably under the starter subscription. And that's all you'll probably need to do for the month. So that would be the cost, the ongoing monthly cost for your app or your website. If you get into more technical, more development, more demand, more features for your app or website, obviously you're going to upgrade to more or different subscriptions, more credits. And then there's enterprise use, contact for pricing. Okay, so that's upgrade your plan. I'm going to close that window. That's under buy a domain. I wanted to buy a permanent domain, like, for example, I could make something up like funny8ball.com. If it was available, I would check through buy a domain, and I would purchase it that way through my subscription through caffeine.ai. And let's click on information here. So here's some details for the app. Here's a specific ID that you might want to use if you're working with the support team to help them identify what project is yours, when it was created, and when it was last published. So you can get some details of your app or website here. Now we're going to go back, and that's basically it. Now I'm going to delete this project. I got a feeling I should show you something else. Maybe we'll wait for 1 minute. Okay, so I'm back to the 2 prompts. Basically 2 instructions was create this app with 100 responses, and yes, go ahead, integrate it. Make it nice, make it work. And that was it. And that gave me this app. So once you publish, you get this bottom left in the chat window, open draft into a full browser window. So it gives you the exact same project that you're working on, and you can view it in a full screen version on your desktop. And that's the beauty of checking out your draft, make sure everything works. And then you can publish it live if you're happy with the end product. I'm going to go back to caffeine.ai. I can publish any changes that I made, which I have not. And under more, again, it's either open draft, publish changes, or reinstall a draft from basically what we just did when I started this video, was reinstall the draft. And that's basically it. So that's how you can create an app. You can ask questions, it'll respond to you. Let's ask a question. I'm going to say, any suggestions to make this game viral or popular? Question mark. And I'm going to send that question and see what it says. Now, sometimes it'll jump right into an update or a patch version of whatever it thinks of. So I start to get in the habit of saying, don't make any updates, just display your response here, to try and keep the platform from anticipating your next idea or development, and to post the idea, reiterate, talk back to me, tell me these things first, so that I can manually select and decide myself what I want to upgrade, what I want to change. And so in this case, it actually just responded in the chat window, which is great because that's what I want. But when you get into developing, you want to make sure specifically to do those types of things, to answer in this chat and then ask the question. So you would say, in this chat only, what is, and there, what are some things, or what is something I can add, or whatever you want to put in there and ask a question for, without pushing the platform to develop an idea or make changes. So here it says, great question to make your hilarious 3D 8-ball magic 8-ball go viral. Here are some high impact ideas. Add social sharing. Let users instantly share their funniest replies as memes or as short video clips. That's cool. Daily cosmic challenge, a new outrageous question prompt each day to create community buzz. All right, so it's giving users, it will give updates to the platform, to the app, to get users to share and use the app in creative ways, kind of like marketing. Streamer mode, Twitch, YouTube overlay friendly with audience voting for questions. So anything you can think of in terms of how an app works, any type of app that you use on your phone that you open up, whether it's social or creative tools or professional tools, it can actually replicate exactly what's already out there and add it to your specific website and application. It's absolutely genius. You do not need to know any code whatsoever. Anything you can think of in your imagination that you've seen before or would like to see, or a combination of all different kinds of apps into one app, your own app, it will create those exact ideas in code for it to work just like all those apps. You do not need to know a single piece of code. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, what would take developers weeks and months can now be done in minutes and hours. What that does is change the entire paradigm of development and progress for companies and businesses who want to use all of the software, different applications that they have, and perhaps combine them into one, so that all of the data and information and files are in one place. And so such a app I have developed, and I'm working with an excellent team out of Chile, South America, to bring that idea to life into pilot projects for agriculture, insurance, medical, a whole bunch of industries that have many people working, many departments, tons of information that gets shared, but also a lot of information gets lost. The order of information gets lost. Files get lost chronologically. And so to have one place, one app that controls all of that into one core, I've developed and is ready to pilot. And I'll show you that in the next video. And number 4 here for the idea that Caffeine is basically suggested, leaderboard of the funniest questions, the gamify the experience. So now I can have a leaderboard, and whatever people type into this at the bottom, it will record that and put it into a leaderboard with people's names. So let's okay, we'll build this out here. All right, so let's just say, would you like me to build the social sharing and daily challenge features first, Okay, I'm going to let it run with this. I'm going to let it explore the ideas that it came up with. So I'm going to say, yes, let's, yes, show me. So I'm going to burn some credits here, and I'm going to say, yes, show me. I want to see what it comes up with. It came up with the ideas. It knows how to develop and program. It writes itself. So I'm going to let it run with it. It made this whole app and everything by itself. So I'm going to trust the creativity in the process of this platform, caffeine.ai. And so I just replied, yes, show me. And it's going to say, got it. I'll show you the viral ready version of your hilarious 3D Magic 8 Ball with social sharing and daily cosmic challenge features. So it looks like it's hitting number 1 and number 2 of its suggestions. So it requires all the focus and attention that it needs for big changes one at a time. And in this case, it actually opted to tackle 2 of the ideas that it came up with. So that's great. And see down here, it's just building. It lit up the code section at the top right-hand side of the window. You can see chat, spec sheet. We're not looking at the code, and files have just come up. So it's writing itself. It's implementing the 2 ideas all by itself, and it's going to display in the app when it's done a daily cosmic challenge and add social sharing. So that's incredible. We're going to let it work here. And this is how easy this is. You don't need to know anything about coding or development. You can build your website. Okay, so here we go. We have an error. Now it says, sorry, our AI couldn't implement that. Try making your request simpler or more specific. So it has an idea of what some things that could be added that would make it very popular and fun, but it doesn't technically have any context or description or overview of what each of these things that it's listed. So even just agreeing with the simple idea of what it's come up with, it hasn't gone through the process of mapping out the idea itself. So that's where you're going to find these little kickbacks like, sorry, our AI couldn't implement that. So it's not a fault of the user or the system. It just requires context of what it's building. So it comes back and it says, it looks like you want to see the new social sharing and daily challenge features. Would you like me to help implement or review those now? So again, after a few minutes, it knows it suggested these ideas. And when I said yes, it started a process, but it didn't have any context. So it bounced back, but it's asking, do you want help to implement or review those now? And I'm just going to say yes. I'm just going to let it sort itself out, let it work itself out. And for your own app and website, you may not want to do that. You may want to be very specific and line by line fix it yourself or instruct caffeine.ai what to do exactly. So perfect. I'll have the social sharing so users can post their funniest 8-ball answers on social media and a daily cosmic challenge. That gives everyone a new question prompt each day for viral engagement. Let's make your Magic 8-Ball irresistibly shareable. So again, I think it has a better idea, even though it's written some code in the previous one and it didn't come up with a solution or a complete patch. It's going to go through the idea again, and it remembers what the conversation is. So it can go back into the history of the chat and pull timestamps of things that you asked it to do that maybe it didn't quite make it that far to get to that part of the checklist of building. So if you start to give all these ideas in one prompt, it might agree to everything that you're saying and that everything is possible. And it might even say, okay, let's get to work here and we'll work on this, everything that you just said. But in one instance, it'll probably just work on the first idea first, and then it's going to build this out and it'll take a few minutes. And if it's confused about anything, it'll bounce back and then it'll ask specifically about the one thing that it needs to work on first. So in this case, we're going to see what happens here. But like I said, in some cases, it might still have idea 2, 3, and 4 on the checklist once it's able to establish what the first update or patch should be. And in this case, it knows that we want to add social sharing so users can post their funniest 8-ball answers, but it also knows daily cosmic challenge. So it might actually run both again. But by conversing back and forth, conversing back and forth, it is building its context in its own method or way. And so we'll see what happens. It says we're off. The process may take a few minutes. I didn't give it any description. I didn't tell it what it should look like, where it should be on the app, where it should be located, how it should look, what the colors are, what the full function should be. I didn't give any context or details. I'm letting the system decide, because it's that smart that it can put concepts together if you let it run. Now, in very complicated or complex apps, you might want to narrow that down again to specific ideas and features, just so that it doesn't run away with itself, because it can run away or sometimes hit a speed bump. Or if you change directions and you forget about the 4 things you asked about and you start conversing about something else or other things or another idea, you still have all those other ideas that are pending from previous conversations, and now you just take it into a full other direction while it still has those other things in the memory. So it can get run away or cross wires, but typically 9 times out of 10, it will always work itself out. Always. I have not hit too many problems. Once you get into very extensive apps and ideas and features, I'm talking about hundreds. I'm even into the couple thousand of credits, I think, now with the apps. Have to be more specific in the details of how you want your app to look, how you want it to feel, how you want it to respond when the user interacts with it. And some of the best things that I do are I go over into, like, for example, ChatGTP, and I'll run different ideas through ChatGTP, and I'll reason with ChatGTP to give me ideas how to communicate so that I can give proper instructions to caffeine.ai, so at least it knows a master plan that it'll document into each project or spec sheet, and it'll always be able to go back and refer to that list and what we're trying to accomplish. So there we go. Less than a few minutes already. It sorted itself out. Your viral features like social sharing and daily challenges are now added and deployed. How does it look? Would you like help with promoting or further enhancing the game? All right, well, let's have a look here. So I've been building apps in English and Spanish, and I think that it's already picked up on that I'm building apps in different languages, well, specifically Espanol. And I can, with one click, toggle back and forth, and now it's changing the title and the button. If you can see here, the title and the button language. But the question itself, the prompt, the daily challenge has stayed in English. That didn't work. So I would have to instruct caffeine.ai here to make sure that this piece, the daily challenge question, changes to Spanish as well, not just the title and the button text. So for the sake of demonstration, and look here, it added community questions asked 0. So I'm going to be the first. It's going to keep track now. Answer today's challenge. Well, here, let's do this. I'm going to actually open the draft into a full window, and here it is loading, and I'm going to answer today's challenge. Challenge loaded, bottom right here. Now shake the ball. Okay, so I didn't explain any of this to caffeine.ai. It just built this concept. I don't even know what the concept is. I'm just following what it's built. So when I say answer today's challenge, the bottom right side here, it says challenge loaded, now shake the ball. I haven't done anything else. Today's cosmic challenge is what it is. It created this idea itself. If you could swap lives with a cartoon character for a day, who would it be? Well, that's kind of funny. All right, so answer today's challenge. I'm going to click it. All right, again, I've done that 3 times already. Challenge loaded, now shake the ball. So I said, if I could swap lives with a cartoon character for a day, who would it be? Now, I didn't program any new responses out of the 100 that we initially integrated for yes or no questions. But I think it actually added an entire file database of answers that would fit this question. So I'm clicking the 8 ball and I go down, ask again after coffee. Okay, so we actually did get that response in our little demo earlier. But here you can see right underneath that, share your cosmic wisdom on X, formerly Twitter, share on Facebook, or copy a link. And it tracked community questions asked 1. So if you could swap lives with a cartoon character for a day, who would it be? And then we didn't actually use this prompt bar. And so as you can see, it didn't really name, or it didn't really, oh, so I see. So I guess basically what it's saying is, if you could swap lives with a cartoon character for a day, who would it be? And I didn't answer. So I'm just going to put Goofy. And see, I don't think this is working. The concept doesn't really work, but I'm going to ask anyway. Question received, now shake the ball. So even if I click on answer today's challenge, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to answer today's challenge. Challenge loaded, now shake the ball. Consulting mystical forces, the prophecy foretells success. So I think what this is potentially doing, this is kind of a weird one, share your cosmic wisdom. So if I could swap lives with a cartoon character for a day, who would it be? Answer today's challenge. When I do that, it tells me to click the ball, but it doesn't give me the answer or anything, or allow me to put in who that might be. And so here we have what's called a logic problem. So it hasn't established the logic or the instructions for the user of how to use or how to play the game. So I'm going to close this window, go back to the app, caffeine.ai. Now it says your viral features like social sharing and daily challenges are now added and deployed. This is true. But how does it work? How does it work? Yeah, I'm just going to say, how does it work? I only get responses. Okay, it already came back with something. So I only get responses from the original 8-ball questions. Now, I'm not going to send that yet. I'm going to read what it says here. Your hilarious 3D Magic 8-ball works like a cosmic comedy show. You ask a question, you type it in, or click the ball, and the 8-ball wiggles, spins, and glows before giving one of 100 random funny responses. The Daily Cosmic Challenge gives everyone a new silly prompt each day, pulled from the backend list, and users can use it as inspiration. Okay, so, but the thing is, the user would have to ask, or they would have to state who the cartoon character they would be for a day in the form of a question. Otherwise, the 8-ball replies with a yes or no answer. So that's something that we never explained in the context of this game. So you can see how your game, your app, or whatever you're building, you can run into these sort of logic problems. It's assuming really great features, and it's assuming what people would want to do that's entertaining and fun. But there was no context. I didn't give any context. It didn't give it itself any context. So everyone gives a new silly prompt each day, pulled from the backend list, and users can use it as inspiration. When you get a response you love, hit share to post it to social media with twinkling cosmic effects. You can switch between English, Spanish, mute sounds, and see how many total questions the entire community has asked. So I'm going to write in here that I only get responses from the original 8-ball questions. This is not going to be good English, of 100 replies. I'm going to say backend. A backend is basically all the files. The front end is the visual, the experience. The backend is where all the files exist, all the code, where all the responses and replies exist. And the front end is the interface, what you use and see. So I'm going to say I only get responses from the original 8-ball questions of 100 backend replies. I could have worded that so much better. But the, what do we call it? The daily challenge would require the user to to reveal their own answer, but in the form of a question or question and validation, because the 100 replies or responses, I'm going to say the original 100 responses are for yes or no questions only. Typing with one hand, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. No questions, yes or no questions. Okay, so I'm going to just sort of explain what I thought was the best way to word it, and it's not really the best way I could word it, but I'm just going to do it anyway. It has a very good reasoning system language to understand your prompts. If it's confused, it generally will ask a question back. So I'm going to send this and see if it makes any sense whatsoever, and see if we can figure this out. And yeah, you can spend days, hours, weeks, months developing anything you want. Very cool. The responses got you. You want the daily questions feature to let the user submit their own creative answer, but framed as a question or question plus validation step, unlike the standard yes, no, 8-ball responses. So it kind of, basically said it in a better way that I was trying to describe. And it says, would you like me to modify it so each day shows the prompt, ask the users for their response as a question or phrase, validates, records it on submit, and displays it alongside community submissions for the day. I'm just going to go with yes for the sake of the presentation here. I'm just going to say yes. It might be deviating a little bit from the original concept that it's trying to work around. Again, this was the caffeine idea. Awesome. I'll enhance the daily Cosmic Challenge so users can write and validate their own creative questions and see community submissions each day. This adds a playful participatory layer to your Magic 8-Ball universe, deploying the new interactive challenge system now. So we already had a functioning game. It was ask the 8-Ball a question, essentially a yes or no, and it would give a unique, funny response. That was the game. That was already built in 2 prompts. So I think I'm going to wrap this up, this video, but I just want to show you how you can get into context and conversation. You can work out ideas, concepts, and different ways to use or interact with the system, caffeine.ai, and how it will help you create a memorable or fun or unique or an experience that is of value to the user, whether you're building professional websites and apps or you're building entertainment and fun. It's worth testing out. And I don't know if there's a free demo or not, but you can check it out when you first sign up. And that's basically it. So we're going to let this run. I'll wrap it up here once it pushes out the draft of what we're talking about here. And again, you got to go back and forth. You have to work with it. And if you have a better idea of what the idea caffeine is suggesting, you can take that idea that it's suggested off here at the top. I'm going to scroll up on the left in the chat. Out of the 4 ideas, I could just copy and paste one of those ideas, put it in the chat GTP, and say, look, this is one of the features I want with my app or website. Can you give me the proper instructions for caffeine so that this makes sense on how a user would use it? And then you get a system like ChatGPT who would actually build a whole idea and concept and overview out for you. And then you can give those instructions back into caffeine.ai. So then you actually have real context, real usability, a real feature that will actually work the way that it's trying to work. And again, the AI couldn't complete your request. Please try rephrasing it or simplifying it. And really, I haven't said anything. It's working out its own ideas. So if it looks like you'd like to enable users to submit their own questions in the daily challenge, should I help you update the backend to support this interactive feature? Yes. So again, it's just working out its own logic. It's saying here's all the ideas. You're saying you want all the ideas, but I got to come back and ask you under what guideline or context, because I'm giving it one word answers here. I'm just saying yes, yes. How does it work? But asking questions like, how does it work, will actually allow Caffeine to learn and understand its own ideas it's suggesting and give you an overview of what it's saying, and you can agree to it or not. So your one-word answers to its own questions is not necessarily the best way to look at or to use the app to build out little games like this or websites, but it'll say, I'll update, it says here now, daily cosmic challenge, so users can submit their own creative response in the form of a question or phrase, validate them, and view all community submissions for the day alongside the challenge prompt. Let's make the daily participation more social and fun. Deploying the enhanced interactive challenge system now. So I probably didn't even really want to go this detailed or technical into an idea that probably wasn't even the original concept that it was suggesting. But again, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of patience, and it's essentially going to create crazy, fun stuff, whatever you can envision for yourself, for a website, for an app, whatever tools you need, like build me a calendar system, build me a journal, a journal that I can write into every day. There's all kinds of things that you can do. You can even build up a schedule calendar for people to go to your website and schedule time slots for you. It'll do all that for you. You just have to explain to it what it is that you want. And it's very simple. You just write it in a single prompt. So again, if you have an idea and you write it out and you understand what it is that you want, keep it as simple as possible. For your first few tries, your first ideas, keep them super simple. Let the platform decide of where it goes and what it looks like, and then you can change all that as you go along. But it's good to kind of like run through some trials, some tests to figure out what it is you want to use it for, and then you just come back to it and then you can start building. So I'll let this run out one more time here. So it tells me it's a multi-minute process, which is fine. And it's just building on the idea that it had originally to make this a more fun game. And I went with it. I didn't think it was going to go this direction. And maybe I didn't want to go that direction. I just did it for the sake of the video. And I could have just said, no, you know what, forget about it. I don't want to do this. Let's move to the other ideas, like a leaderboard of funniest questions that people put in or something. So again, it's kind of changed the whole concept of ask a yes or no question to allowing users to put in their own questions and then keep track of that in a fun leaderboard, so that it's completely user driven, not system driven. So it'll give the platform for users to go in and interact with each other through fun questions and leaderboards and sharing responses, as opposed to the system coming up with all of the replies and responses and functionality. So there's really different ways you can set up your games and your platforms and your tools. It can be 100% user driven. It could be 100% AI driven. I could actually set up this platform so that it generates 1,000 more questions and answer ideas, and then just loop itself so that it never ends. People can never endingly interact with it. But you got to make sure you know what you're spending your money on subscriptions for, what you want your outcome to be. Do you need a website for your business? Boom, there you go. You can have a website from your business for your business. You want to drag and drop your files? You can come down here, bottom left corner where the chat window is. You can add files. You just click on the plus sign, brings up your search find window for your computer, and you have all kinds of find the files you want to bring into the system, like images or logos or anything. But you got to be careful because some images and files are very, very large, and this is still very revolutionary technology, but it hasn't scaled fully and completely. It does really good with what most people need it for now, but as soon as you start dropping in files that are too big, it'll take up a lot of room very quickly, and then you kind of get into some sticky situations where you're over the limit for the project. And so it can happen. I've tried it, I've tested it, I've used it, I've worked with the caffeine.ai team to work out some issues and to figure things out on the back end and how to correct everything, because I've spent hundreds and thousands of dollars so far developing some very useful enterprise level software that's going to replace all the software applications and subscriptions that a company uses for all their platforms. And I've actually built a platform that does it all into one system. I'm going to open up here for you right now quickly. This is basically it. So this is where a user is going to be able to come in, store all their files on the cloud. That's going to take up a lot of data and memory. And also they're going to be able to take notes and then have all their notes and business data and information automatically organized into an all-in-one system. So the draft is, I'm going to go to the live page. So yeah, just to give you an idea, this is enterprise grade blockchain infrastructure. Get started. It makes me log into id.ai just with the fingerprint on my MacBook, and I'm logged in. So logged in before. There's jackbear.ai. So here's an overview. Very technical, very enterprise grade, very high level security. All your files, your own personal cloud, all safe, cannot be cyber attacked. It's just new technology where your information, your data, and everything is secure on a private cloud, all done through the website. You can access from anywhere in the world, and that's it. And that's what I'm working on. So I'll get into that at another time. Just to finish up, also go to jackbear.ai. I'm relaunching the Web3 Academy, where you can learn everything about blockchain, internet, Web3, world computer. Yeah, very cool, jackbear.ai. This is live now, and the courses are going to be uploaded again soon. So back to the project we're working on here, which was Hilarious Magic 8-Ball 3D Interactive. Looks at the features to let users submit and validate their own questions for the daily challenge has been added and deployed. Would you like me to help you test it or add any further customizations? Well, I don't really know what it means by help me test it. So I'm just going to click on what it's given me here on the right hand side. If you could swap lives with a cartoon character for a day, who would it be? Answer today's challenge. I'm going to click that again. Oh, share your answer to the challenge. Okay, so maybe this is not needed, this answer today's challenge, or maybe it is. I'm not going to click on it. But now we see there's a way for the user to actually enter the answer to the challenge. So I'm going to just put in Goofy. And I'll be the first to respond, so it's going to show up under community responses right below it. I'm going to hit which looks like the send arrow, Goofy, and I click it. And it shows, okay, Goofy. So everybody who submits an idea, community response, will show up here in this list. And I'm going to just, I could add another one here, another character. All right, I'm going to say Deadpool. That was a funny movie. All right, Deadpool. So I've added another one. So it'll just record everything. Now, answer today's challenge. I'm going to click the button. It says challenge load. Now shake the ball. And again, it hasn't really, not today, Satan. Ha, funny. So as you can see, it kind of merged two ideas that are not really compatible. Not really compatible. It has the core 8-ball yes or no question and answer original game that we created. But this new concept of the Cosmic Challenge, if you could swap lives with a cartoon character for a day, who would it be? It's just submitting your your answer, and then it's building on this community response leaderboard or board. But it really has nothing to do with the Magic 8 Ball. So I'm going to actually mention that here, that I'm going to put the mic down. Hang on one second. The original game was yes or no, answer and reply. This new concept is something totally different, question mark. I share my answer, but that has nothing to do with the original Magic 8 Ball game logic. Right, so we got two ideas that are kind of not connecting the dots here of why someone would do this when they wanted just a yes or no response from the 8 Ball. So again, another question for it maybe is, how do we integrate the two ideas potentially? So let me say that. How can we integrate both ideas into one? What was the point of this feature if it's a standalone feature? Question mark. So let's see what it says here. I'm basically telling it that its ideas just don't really follow in line with the original concept. They're two ideas that are completely different, that really don't complement each other or for the original 8 Ball game. So I'm going to click send on that on the chat window. All right, and then like I said, you can just go on, and sometimes, you know, other games it's more straightforward, it's more simple, it's not so pragmatic, it's more open idea, more concept. Like for example, I'll go over to another project of mine that you can go play right now. It's called tapthenode.com. So on the left hand side of the window, I'm clicking on tap the node, and I'm going to open up the live version of this. View code changes. I don't see a live version. Okay, so I'm going to publish the draft, get that running. Tapthenode.com. Tapthenode.com is a fun app game. Now this took me a couple weeks to build, to get everything right. There's a lot of logic involved, but essentially the game concept itself is very simple. I just wanted to keep track of all the people and all the different clicks that they do, and how many clicks were made for tap the node, how many taps were made, how many taps were missed, how many errors, how many games total were running, how many people played. Like, so I took an idea that was very simple concept, but I had the idea and I ran with it with caffeine.ai, and we worked together to build this app. It took me a few weeks and probably a couple $100 to build. And then now people just play it just for fun. But if you see on the right hand side, the draft is coming back. Tap the node, and for the sake of demonstration, I'll just show you. Click and start. I'm gonna add some sound. So here, all you do is tap the node. Very simple, very straightforward. If you miss it, it doesn't register. If you miss, it's a miss. If it's a click, it's a click, and that's it. Super simple game, super simple. But a lot of coding, a lot of logic, a lot of explaining how to improve the way that the game responds and what it looks like, to keep track of all these different little statistics here, as you can see. So that's basically it. That's a fun little game, tapthenode.com. And like I said, the game concept is simple, it's straightforward. There's no multiple game features that changes the game of the core game itself. But if I go back to the hilarious Magic 8 Ball game and we look at this, it added these ideas because, well, it had good user-driven experience and fun. It's thinking on a social level, but it hasn't really combined the two ideas together. So now I'm reading the response. Excellent point. Right now, your daily Cosmic Challenge runs separately from the core yes-no 8 Ball logic, which makes it feel disconnected. A smart way to integrate both would be let the users answer the daily challenge by asking a yes or no style question inspired by the day's prompt. Will I ever become a cartoon? After they submit, the 8-ball spins and replies with one of the 100 funny answers. Their questions plus response is logged to the daily challenge feed so everyone can see the community answers. Would you like me to merge the two systems so each challenge submission triggers a yes/no 8-ball response and appears in the daily feed? So again, it's trying to compensate for the idea that it gave with the original game that we developed, or that it developed after I told it I wanted an 8-ball game. And now it's trying to facilitate combining the two ideas. So I can spend hours and days trying to, work this out and make it work, and it all seemed beautiful and it does make sense. I mean, really, I could work on this for a week and it'll be something so completely different, but fun and user-friendly and easy to understand. I'm not going to do that for the sake of this video. We're running onto some long tutorials here, but I just wanted to show you basically some more overview of how caffeine.ai works, how the logic for games work, how little ideas can turn into big ideas, and so on and so forth. So that's it for this video. I think for today, those are the different ways that you can use caffeine.ai. You can use it, develop, create little games, apps. This is all in the blockchain, tamper proof. They cannot be hacked. You log in with your id.ai. If you go to id.ai, get yourself an internet identity. You no longer ever have to input passwords, remember passwords, track passwords, store passwords, write passwords down. I mean, you're going to have to until you get used to this system. But this is the future. This is where the world is going for the Internet 2.0. This is the next generation of Internet, the real next revolutionary Internet technology, the world computer. Go check it out. Go check out jackbear.ai. Here is, you learn everything about the world computer, about Web3, about what we just did. Learn about all those different concepts and ideas and how it's going to change and revolutionize the way that we think, the way that we work, and the way that we keep data and information safe, but also we get to own our own data. It's decentralized cloud. It's a private cloud for yourself when you deploy it through caffeine.ai, whether it's your own website that you want to keep your files, or website for your business, keep your personal information or data. You're still going to have computers that have files on them, but eventually you'll be able to take all those files, drop them into your private cloud. Right now, you'd have to hire someone to do it like me, to develop a private cloud for you so that you can put all your files into one place. But right now, the technology is good enough to run amazing apps, software, and websites. But data storage is still very limited, even though it's cheaper than Google Cloud, iCloud, things like that. It just isn't optimized for that yet, and it takes some time, and more and more memory will become more and more available. So you still need the cloud for your images and your photos and your videos. You still need the cloud for everything that you use today. You still need the cloud for your laptops and your phones to synchronize, to access your information anywhere in the world. You still need it right now. But the point is that this new way of owning your cloud, owning your data, owning your digital identity is moving, and it's scaling. This is just the beginning. This is just an insight, a look at what's happening in real time, how it's scaling in real time, what you can build in real time and deploy and own, and basically taking control without having to ever worry about your passwords being stolen, because you never have to manually put them in, worry about phishing scams or email spam or text spam that ask you to do things that you get tricked into doing, to put in your passwords, and then things go missing. So we're talking about a 10 trillion a year cybercrime industry. The whole entire world is moving their digital assets and tokens. The banks are moving all their digital assets and tokens to the internet, onto what they call the blockchain, which there are blockchains. Blockchain is basically just a record-keeping ledger of proof of transactions, but they're all built on the old system, the old internet, the old iCloud, the old Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Google. That's the old system. The world computer is the new system. It's the new system moving forward. More and more companies are going to adopt to it. It's holding accountable the technology and companies that hold and store our information. It's holding them accountable because it's an all-in-one solution that takes care of all the internet problems that we ever had. It never has to go down for maintenance or disconnect for repair or patching. You never have to wait to access your money or information because it updates in real time. As you can see here on these games and apps, the internet writes itself. You just have a conversation with it. You go back and forth. You get what you need. And if you have any more questions, go check out my YouTube channel at Justin Jack Bear, Wealth Frequency. This is another episode of Coffee Break AI. If you found this tutorial useful, if you enjoy my content, if you learned something new today, I appreciate the subscribe. All the comments, likes, and shares helps my channel to grow. And until the next video, stay groovy.